just got through watching a video of J.J. Watt training with his dad's fire department in Wisconsin, and
Ooh.
professional. I'll show it. It's really cool. He professional Pro Bowl athlete is so exhausted by the end of it. He said, "There's no way in the world I thought it'd be this hard." But so why don't you? Because honestly, I don't even know myself. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got into it?
Okay. First of all, good morning. I'm excited and glad to be here. It's a pleasure to just share a little bit of my career path with you guys, and we'll take a little time and do that. Um, I started in the fire service in 2007, and a lot of things draw people to the fire department. The willingness to help people, want to be a part of your community, and just the excitement of being a firefighter. Growing up, a lot of kids see the truck and just get enamored in that and want to see it, want to be a part of it. And to be perfectly honest with you, those first few calls on the truck was as exciting as any football game I ever played in. And it's my adrenaline is going as high as any playoff game I played in, and that's at NFL, CFL, high school, college level. It's extremely exact. Extremely exciting. But to be perfectly honest with you, I always wanted to give back to the community. Always wanted to be helpful. But it was a career that offered me an opportunity to have another career, just based on the schedule. As most of the country, our fire department, we work 10 days a month. And that sounds cool right off the bat, but it's 24-hour shift. So honestly, I'm just getting off of work. I went to work yesterday. We come in, our shift starts at 8 a.m. and it goes to 8 a.m. the next day. So you work 24 hours at the station, and then you're off for 48 hours. So that's 240 hours a month. That's just like somebody working 8 to 5 for an entire month. So we are cramming 3 days of work in one day.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's kind of goes and comes with the volume of calls or what have you. In my city, we have 4 stations. On a fully staffed day, we'll have 19 combat firefighters. And we have, I give you a kind of big word, 5 apparatuses. That's just a fancy word for trucks, or for rescue trucks, ladder trucks, engines, and we just call them apparatuses. So I'm a captain now in the fire department, and I'm housed at Station 4 that's going to be the east. No, let me be correct. That's going to be the northwest side of the city. So at my station, we have 2 companies when fully staffed. That's a ladder truck and a rescue truck. So we can have as many as 7 guys there at a time, or we can have as little as 3 guys. Just depends upon staff. When we're normally staffed, we'll be 5 guys, but right now we're a little down, so we only have 3 guys.
Wow.
Yeah. So getting into the fire department, it's not as easy as people would think it is, because it's not going to be the most lucrative job you get, but it's a highly sought after job just because of the respect you get from it, the excitement involved in it, and most importantly, the time, the effort, and certifications that it takes to get involved. Across the country now, they're requiring you to have a medical background as well, because contrary to popular belief, as a fireman, 90% of our calls are going to be medical or rescue in nature. Yep. We run fires, but majority of the time you'll see us responding to wrecks with injury, somebody that's ill, somebody that's fallen or broken something. So with that in mind, they're requiring all over the country to be at least an EMT basic. And that certification can be received from a junior college, who a lot of people don't know. And it's only That certification is only a 2-semester thing. Then there's a national registry test. There's some clinicals that go along with it, but the actual in class time is 2 semesters. So it's very achievable. And in most instances, just to get into the fire department or to get looked at, they kind of want you to already have that out the way. So somebody that's in the mind of becoming a fireman, want to go down that career path, I would highly recommend after leaving high school, go to there are several schools right here in our area that have that program. Holmes and Hines, I'm gonna speak highly of, because they have a high ratio of people passing the class and getting you prepared to pass the national registry. To me, that would be the first step to take if you are interested in getting into the fire service, right? So after you have that EMT basic class, or after you get on with the fire department, 2 things will be required of. If you have the EMT, that's one step already taken care of. Next is going to the state fire academy. And to go there, just to get in there, we call it CPAT. There's a little test that you have to take. It's an assessment test where they show that you have the aptitude to do the job. And a lot of times people have a misconception that at the firehouse, we don't do a lot of work. We sit around, eat bonbons and grill and watch our trucks and cars and what have you. But if you watch that video, they kind of show you, and you're talking about JJ Watt, one of the biggest, one of the baddest athletes in the world. He's in the top 1%. And that kind of broke him down. Now, coming into the fire service, I got in and I was like 30, 32. And I think I was in the prime shape of my life. I had stopped playing ball like 2006. So I was still in pretty good shape. But the first real structure fire I worked, and when I say real, I'm not talking about you pull up and there's one room content, you pull up, there's the garage is on fire, or you put up a little kitchen fire, you go in, you put it out. No, I'm talking about a full-fledged structure fire where we're there for a few hours. The intensity involved in that, the adrenaline rush, the work actually involved in that, statistics shows is as strenuous as a guy digging ditches for 8 hours.
Oh, I bet.
So that's the kind of intense situation you'll be involved in when you're doing structure fires. Not to mention your gear. If you were to just weigh your gear, typically it's going to weigh about 75 pounds. So you got to add 75 pounds to your frame that you're carrying around and you're asked to do work in. And that's where I say
that gear is hot too.
Well, it keeps you from getting hot. I mean, it's going to be warm. Of course it is. It's hot with it on, but it's protective layers. It allows you to work in the temperatures. I've been in fires where it's over 900 degrees in the building.
Ooh.
So those thermal layers keep you protected, and it keeps you from getting burned. There's no safe saying you're not going to be burned, but you can operate in that environment for a conducive time to get the job done. And we have an air pack on, which is a breathing apparatus, what we breathe out of. You have a face shield on, so your eyes, your face, your skin is not exposed. When you're in there, you don't even have anything exposed. You got on gloves, you got your turnout jacket on, you got on high-rated steel-toed boots to keep you safe. So, but in today's world, we're doing less and less of that and more of rescue, more of medical situations. So that medical aspect has got to be a big part of it. If you're thinking of getting into the fire service, and it's going to provide you an opportunity to do a lot of other things. You'll meet a lot of different people, different walks of life. Just like you and I have in common, we're officials, right? And being a firefighter, it allows me time to officiate.
Absolutely.
So I have time to take in other interests, to run a business or what have you. So it's a good career in that aspect.
So if somebody had a family, you know way in advance when you're going to work, so you can plan the family around the schedule.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about the cool thing about the schedule that I'm on, and this, and I'm gonna try to explain where you understand. If I take one day off, I'll have 5 days to do what I want to do. And because like I mentioned to you earlier, it's it's 10 days a month and it's on a sliding scale. So basically I work every third day. So for example, I worked on the second. I wouldn't work again to the fifth. And if I work on the fifth, I wouldn't work again today. So it's every third day. So today is the fourth, right? So I worked on the third. I don't technically supposed to go back to work to the sixth. So if I was to take the sixth off, right? If I took the sixth off, I have the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth off before I go back to work. So you get those 5 days before I go back to work. So technically, I wouldn't have to go back to work to the ninth. Cool. So in that aspect, you're planning family vacation. You take one day off of work. You got 5 days off. You can go do what you want to do. But the downside of it is, and it's something that you got to realize and take into consideration. You're going to spend a third of your adult life here because every third day you're there. So you're talking 30 years every third day. That's a big commitment. And I wouldn't advise people taking it lightly. And as you grow old, as a younger person, it's fine. But as when you get a family, then that's something that you'd have to think about. But that's one of the downsides of it. But it's a solid career, give you a great retirement. So, and to me, I can't speak enough about it. It's been great for me. For me, it's been great.
And for some of we got a lot of athletes, male and female, in here watching. So for people that have a sports background that enjoy the physical aspect, to me, it seems like something that'd be really fun as far, to stay physically active and have a team environment.
Right. It's something that you're already familiar with. You've been a part of a team. You know the concept of working together as a team to achieve a common goal. And that's something that we often look for. We want former athletes. We want people with that high aptitude, that discipline, to be able to be in tough situations and make tough decisions. That's a lot of what we do. And again, being physically fit is a part of our job. We have PT tests twice a year. So it's strongly encouraged to stay in shape. And the avenue for you to stay in shape is available. We have all kind of opportunities to do these trainings, to get education, and just to further your career. So it's a great opportunity, and sometimes it's going to be just a good start in life.
Yeah, and one thing that JJ Watt said in the video is about how he said, when I'm playing football, I know when the game starts. I know how long the game is. That's the one thing about you guys calls. You don't know where they're going to be, when they're going to be, or how long they're going to be. And if the weather's bad, you still got to go. If it's Christmas, you still got to go. So there's no getting out of work and stuff like that.
Exactly. Well, there are good days and bad days. There's some days that you might not run a call, but we have at our department, we have structured days Monday through Friday where we have from 8 to 5, we have maintenance, we have educational requirements, we have things to do from that 8 to 5 area. And from 3 to 5 is actually where we have PT time. And that's where you do your weightlifting, running, or whatever, cardio, whatever you want to do. But you have to log 2 hours of PT every shift. So it's highly encouraged, strongly recommended that you handle that.
Like even if you to stay in shape, you can't say you don't have time to exercise. You get to exercise while you're at work.
Right.
You don't have to take off. Just do it while you're there.
Exactly. Yesterday in our city, we had, as a department, I think we had maybe 5 runs, a couple of fire alarms, 1 or 2 medical aid calls, nothing serious. But then there are some times where you come in and when I was a lieutenant, I guess 2 years ago, we had 2 apartment fires in one day. two fully involved structure fires where we had to dump our whole department there. We had one that started at 12 o'clock. We didn't leave there till 7.
Mm.
We got home, and when I say got home, we got back to the fire station, and then then the work started. We had to get all our equipment back into service, like cleaning our hoses, filling the truck with water, inspecting our air packs, getting all of them all ready to go. We did that. And we finally kind of settled down about 9, 10 o'clock, and we laid down, what have you. 1:30 that morning, another structure fire. We get there, and we were there to 6 that morning.
Mm.
So it happens like that. And
Yeah.
You have those bigger departments in higher metropolitans that some of those stations are so hot, they might run fires like that 3 or 4 times a day.
Wow.
There's some stations in Jackson that run like that.
Oh yeah.
There's some station in Jackson, and just off the top of my head, I know Station 14, Station 28. They very seldom go 3 or 4 days without having a fire. In our city, it's newer. The requirements of sprinkler systems are more prevalent. So there's a lot of more. When you got newly constructed buildings, they've already taken that little precaution to help out on the fire. So there's little to no building fires in our city. But we have a lot of house fires, car fires, and instances like that.
And also with the reservoir nearby, you guys could deal with drowning as well.
Exactly. And here at our department, and we have one of the best dive teams in the Southeast.
Wow.
We do a lot of dive training. If there's a dive call right here in a 100-mile radius, our team is going to go.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah, our team is going to go. We have a hazmat team. Of course, when you get on here, your first couple of years at any fire department is going to be education. Meaning you're going to be taking all the classes, getting all the certifications you need, and trench rescue, confined space, rope rescue, hazmat, dive rescue, all these kinds of things you'll be exposed to. So it's an opportunity to learn and meet people. And again, if you want to help people, this is the area for you.
Yeah, and I have a former student of mine who's a Clinton fire, and he's told me, you get all this stuff, but you're working while you're getting all this training. So this is basically paid training. You're not having to go to college for 4 years to do all this stuff. This is something they'll teach you when you get there, and then obviously as you move up, you can obviously make more money.
Right. Well, there's all kind of aspects that you can roll into after or during your fire career. There's opportunities for example, you take me for example. I have that certification as a hazmat tech. I have a certification as a fire inspector, fire investigator. So those opportunities are in the private sector, working for an insurance company, just doing reports on arson.
That's awesome.
I'm a few classes away from getting home inspector. Then now I can work for
good money in that now.
Right. There's just a lot of opportunities within the fire department that you get these certifications that you can go on and use them in other venues once you leave the fire department or in conjunction with working at the fire department. And I'm a safety officer. I'm a certified safety officer as well. So there's a lot of opportunity.
And we got a few females watching, and we're going to have some more watching this later. But what type of are there opportunities for females in the fire industry?
Yes, it is. It is. Anybody that has the drive and the determination, and I just think former athletes have a kind of a step up, because we, as an athlete, I still consider myself an athlete. As an athlete, you understand, make that hurting feeling. When you're going through something and it's hard, you're working, you're running, you're lifting weights, and having to push through that and catch that second wind and keep going, and not wanting to quit at the first little sign of adversity. Those things are what you learn as an athlete. And in our business, you got to have those kinds of characteristics. You got to have that type of something right here in the heart to do it. And it's wide open for anybody. It's just the proper exposure, the proper training. Unfortunately, we don't have any women in our department, but we hadn't had many to try out. Again, we had a hiring process the other day, and just being honest with you, we had 16 applicants, and of the 16 applicants, only 3 passed the test. So then it's out there for you to find out what the test is. It's just the same little test that you would have to take to get into the fire academy. And if you're serious about getting into the fire department, you'll do your research and you'll bump around to this station or this department and get a little exposure to what you need to do and how to train for it. But again, athletes are going to have easier time with it because they'll be able to get into that mode.
Yeah, but you guys are always looking for people that can pass that test and get in and help out, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Now, before I get to some of these questions, I do want to talk briefly about, we did mention how we're both officials, and that's another thing. We're always looking for people, male and female, to get involved with us because, me and you are getting older. We can't do it forever, but there's a lot of opportunity there, and talk about some of your accomplishments in officiating, because I've actually seen you on ESPN before.
Right. Well, I mean, being an official, as you know, is to me and let me coin this. Let me say this right. To me, and you're talking to a guy that was 5th round draft pick. You're talking to a guy, or you're listening to a guy that was 5th round draft pick in 1997. Played 3 years in the NFL. I played 5 years in Canada. But making it to Division I in football was probably, in the sports arena, my biggest accomplishment.
Absolutely.
And it's been one of the best opportunities that I could ever have. I'm 46 years old. I'm still around the game that I love. I still get to work a game and be on the field on Saturday. So
and we always had the best seat in the house.
Always. And I love officiating football. Basketball is a close second. And 2019, I worked the Conference USA Championship game. And you guys are going to think I'm being funny when I say this, but I'm being very serious. I have worked that Velma Jackson Canton game at Canton or at Velma, that basketball game, girls and boys, and it's just as exciting.
Absolutely. One of the best.
That game's on a Saturday. The game's on a Saturday. The game is at 5. We get there at 3. The line's already around the parking lot. I mean, it's a big game.
Yeah.
And you and I both, we look forward to that game. That's a big game. And have an opportunity to be around you guys. We learn from you just like y'all learn from us. But like he's saying, we're always looking for young officials, and that's a real good opportunity for you. Through officiating, I've been able to travel the country, go to this place, that place, to work a game, and getting paid to do something that I love to do. And when you're doing something that you love, it's never really work.
Absolutely. I mean, I tell people all the time, it's not a job, it's a hobby. I mean,
it's a hobby. We're just fortunate enough they pay me to do it.
Absolutely. And
they pay me to do it.
And it's the experience, and you get to meet great people. And I've told, I tell people all the time, nobody understands officials like officials. So you could be from completely different walks of life, but once you're out there together, you're a team forever.
Exactly. And I'll tell you this too, this is something that athletes have to get adjusted to. They see the game, and athletes know the game, right? We know the game. But when you put those stripes on, you see the game from a whole entirely different perspective.
Big time.
You have a different respect for everybody involved, from the players to the coaches to the officials and the fans. We have a broad perspective of what's going on. We're in there basically to bring calm to chaos.
That's a great analogy. Now, real quick, before I get to some of these questions, you did mention you played 8 years of professional football.
Right.
But you don't have the multi-millions of dollars like Tom Brady and these guys have. So can you explain, especially to these young men, just because, you've reached the pinnacle of an athlete, that doesn't mean that you're just balling out with all these billions and millions of dollars. That the percentage of athletes that do that is very, very, very small.
Well, we'll start with this. When you make it to that level, number one, you're in the top 1%.
Absolutely.
You're in the top 1% just to make it that far. And the average NFL career is 3 years. And if you just do the mathematics, 3 years, and if you're not that first round, maybe second round, if you're not that first round pick and you don't work for 3 years, you're gonna have to do something else. What you've done is set yourself up for life. You got a good start in life. You know, you put some money away for retirement. It's a when I started at the fire department, it's a different race for me. My retirement's already in place, but I had to do something till I make it to retirement. You know, so that's just the nature of the beast. You know, so it gives you a good start in life. You're able to help out your family, significant others for a little bit of time, and that's if you're being smart with your money. You know, and but that like we're talking about that 1% of that 1% can do that. Can
Yeah,
do
because
that.
I played high school football with Mike Espy. He played 3 years in Washington in the NFL, and he makes more money now as a personal trainer than he did as a football player. So, yeah, and he obviously his dad's a well-known attorney, ran for senator, but you know he also like you said, he had some money put away, but he's still got to work right now. So
Well, and let's be clear, they weren't paying us the money that they're paying these kids now, but they still can't because you got to look at this inflation. It costs a lot more to live than it did when we played. Because every year, I mean, you know, the value of a dollar is diminishing every year, every day. You know, when I was in college, you had $20, you had some money. That you can't even go across the street with $20.
you can't even fill up a gas tank with that now.
No. When we were in school, $20 is going to put some money in, put some gas in your car. You're going to buy something to eat, and you're going to the movies with $20. You can't go to the movies for $20 now. So,
I mean, we do have some good questions here. This first one is, and these are all ninth graders. These are really good questions coming from ninth graders. This was the Roger Harris, and he said, "What's the scariest part of your job?"
The unknown. The unknown. That's why I say your adrenaline gets to flowing. When that bell rings and you go get on the truck, you don't know what you're going to see.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's going to be like when you get there. The calls call into 911, which is our dispatch center, and they'll tell you what they think you have or what was reported to them. Again, I've been in this business 14 and a half, almost 15 years. Very seldom do what the dispatchers tell us is what we get when we get there. Or it may have escalated between the time they made that call and the time we arrive on scene. So, you know, that's one of those things that you have to be prepared for. An analogy for me is, you know, I don't know if we have any history buffs in your class, but in the early days of this country, there were a group of guys that were called Minutemen.
Yep.
And at a moment's notice, they had to go and protect, fight, or do whatever they need to do. That's kind of like what we do. You know, we could be sitting down in the kitchen eating dinner, and if the bell rings, we got to go. We could be at lunch. If the bell rings, we have to go. And we have to get there in a pretty good time. You know, so here's a little sidebar, and we got some ninth graders, and eventually you're going to be driving, moving around, or you're out with your parents. When you hear those sirens and you see those lights, move to your right.
Yeah.
Move to your right. Let us by. You know, you never know. You don't know whose house we're going to. You don't know what wreck we're going to. Move and let us get to where we're trying to go. We could be going to save somebody's life that you know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know, so it's one of those things, and I've experienced most of the traditional things that you're going to see as a fireman, and there are a couple that I haven't, and I don't even want to say aloud. I hope I make it through my career without having seen them. You know, I've seen some horrific accidents. I've been in some serious house fires. I've been burned in a house fire before. You know, I've been on crews. We've had multiple saves using the AED. I've been on several crew calls where we've extricated people from vehicles, and saved people's lives. And that's what we come to work to do. That's what gets us going. That's my job. That's my mission. That's what I'm here to do. And the unknowing is, what am I going to have to be prepared for when I get there?
That's awesome. This is Kyle Washington, and he asked, how long did it take for you to reach the rank of captain?
I started in 2007. And I was first promoted in 2015. Now, here's the thing. It took a while for me to get promoted. It took a while. But we had an older department when I first started. And when I first got in, the training officer sat me down and put me on a path which he does with everybody, put me on a path to be successful, to promote. I got all the classes that I needed for immediate promotion. So my steps, when I got here, I became a probationary firefighter, got through 1001 EMT, then I became a firefighter. Then the next step was Firefighter 2. And once I got Firefighter 2, now I was eligible for promotion. I stayed at Firefighter 2 for a few years. When I was promoted to sergeant in 2015, I was only a sergeant for a year. An opportunity came up. I became a lieutenant. And lieutenant was actually my first real promotion. Not that a sergeant isn't. As a sergeant, I have an officer that oversees me. I'm working in conjunction with him. I'm really still kind of a part of the hands-on guys. When I became a lieutenant, now I was over a station. Now I had my own station. I was a boss of that station, and I was responsible for one district. I was a lieutenant in District 2. So any call that came in District 2, I was going to be the officer in charge on that call until a captain or a chief came to relieve me of those duties. So I was a lieutenant from 2016 to 2020. Recently, I've been a captain now. I was promoted in January. I've been a captain like 4 months. So
Awesome.
So it took me, I guess, from 2007 to 2020 to become a captain.
All right. And then Catherine Johnson asked, have you ever thought you were going to die in a fire?
No.
Okay.
No, let's say this. I've been in 3 that I could have. Thank God I hadn't been in that situation where I was trapped or we were surrounded or something of that nature. But that's always a possibility when you roll out. You just never know. But thankful for training, thankful for a good crew, for a well-knowledge shift commander that puts us in the right position. And now that I'm in that position, it's my job to make sure that my guys go home every shift as well.
Yeah, people don't realize the planning aspect that goes in to all that stuff. And I know you got to go. I know you're tired. I got 2 more questions. One fun and one serious.
We're fine.
Well, they got to get to work. But I asked you this before, and we were talking about this right before you came on. How realistic is the show 911? Because everybody watches that and they got the crazy fire calls on there. And I know that's in a big city, but how realistic is that show from what you've seen?
Very realistic.
That's awesome.
It's of course they stage it and all that kind of stuff, but yeah. It's pretty realistic. It's pretty realistic. The gambit is that wide. I mean, you could go on one call and like I said, you're thinking one thing and you get there and it's the polar opposite. And as the officer in charge, you have to be able to navigate and negotiate what's going on to mitigate that situation.
Yeah.
There's been times that we said here recently, we run on a call that, we unresponsive, the patient is unresponsive, not lethargic. And we get there and in our term, it's a full cold. This person is dead. We got to start CPR. We got to intubate this patient. We go from thinking that the man's having a problem breathing or something. And we get there and we got to do absolutely everything.
Wow.
You know, or we get there and, you know, we run on a call and, you know, comes in as a stomach injury, this, that, and the third. We get there, it's a gunshot wound. Dude tried to commit suicide and shot himself.
Mm.
So we run those all the time. But then there's those times where we get the other day, we jump out and we got a rollover on 220 with entrapment. And we get there, the dude is not even in, the dude's out of the car, just ran off the road into the woods.
Oh man.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you. So it can go from here to here or from here to here in a matter of seconds. You have to be ready.
That's
And
crazy.
you have to be able to incorporate all the other public services with you. You know, when we roll on calls, my mind needs to be focusing on who I need. Do I need PD here? Do I need the gas company here? Do I need to get the electrical company here? You know, all these kinds of things could happen that could cause me have to put these moves in play. Now, we're going to respond firstly, and most times if it's a security issue or it's a something with the law, then the police will be there too. But there's sometimes where we run on a call and somebody's injured, it's a crime scene or it's a domestic situation. We have to stage and wait for PD to get there to make sure the scene is safe before we can even go in and treat these people.
Yeah.
So it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
You know,
And yeah,
I know it
told
sounds
him, I
so
said,
like it's fiction, like it's fictional, but
yeah, that's what I was telling him. Yeah, obviously it's dramatized for television, but it's actually pretty educational about what all you guys do. I mean, there's a lot of
right.
moving parts to it.
Right. Well, I'll give you one more situation. You know, the recently built, you know, the Renaissance is built now, but during the building phase of the Renaissance and all those buildings over there, a couple high-rise buildings, we had a rope rescue incident over there one time. Guy fell off a scaffold and was hanging off the third floor. That's something you would see on 911, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
We had that call.
That's
So
awesome.
again, we have to be trained in rope rescue and all that kind of stuff because you just never know what you're going to have to do. We've had the child down in a well type thing, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, that's really awesome. But now I always ask everybody this that I have, and we have several hundred students are going to see this later as well. But everybody in this room is a young African American in Mississippi. You know, and you went to Jackson State, you had your football career, and now you're a successful in what you do now. Even if these kids don't want to go into fire and rescue or any of that stuff, as being young Black leaders in Mississippi, what can they do to be as successful as you've become?
Well, take advantage of educational opportunities. Um, you know, and here's something that I strongly recommend. And sometimes it could be through your teacher, sometimes it could be through a counselor. Find what you like to do. Because if you don't do what you like to do, if you don't do what you love, it's gonna be hard to excel at it. If you're just doing something to make the money, that's gonna grow old.
Oh yeah.
You know, my advice is to find something that you love to do, get very good at it, and they will pay you what you want to do it. Period, point blank. And you know, when you can specialize in something, and you know, college might not be for everybody, but there are other situations. There's vocational schools, there's trades, there's militaries. There's so many ways that you can get education that I'm speaking of, not just in a classroom or a college setting, you know, and still live a comfortable, successful life.
Yeah, very well said. I agree 100%. We appreciate you taking some time for us today. I know you're tired, but get some rest, my man. I'll see you soon.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
See you.
Bye bye.